welcome to Book World, the Great Escape. I'm author CJ Peterson. My co-host over here is author Michael Scott Clifton. Today we have the special guest joining us, author Dana Wayne, who is also, we did it last month, but we have her this month as the president of the Northeast Writers Association, aka NETWO. Welcome, Dana.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Good to see y'all again.
Yay. So we're going to be talking about, this week we're going to talk about NETWO. So
Okay.
what can you tell us about Northeast Texas Writers Association?
The Northeast Texas Writers Organization has been around for a long time. I think we started like in '89, and it's up in Mount Pleasant. We meet the second Thursday of every month, so tomorrow night at Tennyson United Methodist Church, starting at 6 o'clock. And we usually have some kind of a program, and we have refreshments. People talk about their writing, what they want, where are they, any questions they have asked. One of the things that we really encourage is new writers to come and check us out and see, there may be something, that you can learn from what other people have already gone through. And it's open to anybody that wants to write, any age, any genre. If you want to write it, we want to help you.
Very cool. Well, before we dive any further into it, Mike, do you have any author things coming up?
So this Saturday is Dalton Days, weather permitting, and we usually go to that. Last year it was canceled because of weather, of rain. So it's in downtown Longview, I think Fredonia Street, and Dalton Days is a reenactment of a bank robbery that happened in Longview back in the Wild West days, and generally has a pretty good crowd. I think the Chautauqua Festival, which is sponsored by the Longview Public Library, is going on at the same time. And the Dalton Days, last year, previous years, it was like from 10 to 4. This year, it'll be from 12 until 4, and it'll be like the second event, that book event that I've attended. We had one last week and then another one this week. So that's where we'll be.
Okay, cool. Dana, do you have any by any chance coming up?
I have the Winsboro Book Festival coming up in May. I think it's May the 2nd. And then the 25th of this month, I have the Hot Link Festival in Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Hot Link Festival.
Are you going to Mike?
Yeah, I'll be at the Hot and the Hot Link Festival, the person that's doing that, CJ, we've had as a guest on here before, Ian Griffin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So he's doing that. His friend Sabin is been doing the Hot Link Festival there in Pittsburgh for years and years and years. Yeah. And Ian's from Pittsburgh, so he's good friends with Sabin. And it started out, wasn't it, Nancy or Dana? We're going to call you Nancy. Dana Wayne is your writer's name.
Mm-hmm.
So
I answered to any of them.
So it started out as just a couple of authors. Now he's actually got an author's alley. There'll be like 20 or 25 authors there.
20 something like, yeah. Last year, I think there were some people canceled at the last minute for whatever reason. So there were still like 18 maybe.
Yeah, there was quite a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's always a fun event. I enjoy it. So.
Very
and
cool.
then that's all I have coming up right away.
Okay. Well, I know that Cookbook Weekend is usually the first weekend in May, so mark your calendars for that. I know that you mentioned Chautauqua's coming up. I know my next actual Comic-Con that I will be at in y'all's area will be Longview. That is the East Texas Comic-Con. That is mid-July. And I know that the last weekend in August is the Lufkin Comic-Con, which is aka Piney Woods Comic-Con, that is down in Lufkin. So those are my next two Comic-Cons that are going to be in y'all's area. So mark your calendars for those upcoming Comic-Cons.
Right. Good Comic-Cons.
Definitely big ones that are coming up for y'all's area. So in the meantime, mark those on your calendars that are upcoming Comic-Cons. So Dana, as far as Northeast, I'm just going to call it NETWO.
That's good. That's easier.
Longevity in words. Those are words, long words, and my throat's not doing well today because of allergies. So what I know that you guys actually sponsor quite a few things. One of them is the first chapter contest. What is that?
The first chapter is I've actually had these contests. They've run them for every year forever. But the first chapter is just what it says. It's your first chapter of whatever your work in progress is, and a synopsis. And then there's a on our webpage on NetWo's website, netwo.org. There's a link for contests, and all the rules and everything are right there where you can check it out. But it's like $10 per entry, but the prizes are like first prize is $100, second prize is 75, I think, and third prize is 50. So it's worth your effort, worth your while to check it out. If you've got something that you're working on and you want to submit it, by all means do it. But it's netwo.org and contests, and you'll find the first chapter contest link is there. All the information is there, where you mail it to, and all that. And then there's a little QR code you can pay your fee right there too.
And what's the cutoff for that? Because isn't the conference soon?
I'm sorry?
What's the cutoff for that? Because isn't the conference?
I believe the final date is I want to say May the 2nd. It may be May the 7th. But it's in order to have all the papers judged in time for the conference, which is coming up on June the 6th in Mount Pleasant. They have to, I believe it's either May the 5th or the 7th is the deadline. And then we'll announce the winners at the conference. You don't have to attend the conference to win, obviously, but if you're there, to accept it, that's fine. But our conference is something else that we've done every year for a number of years. And this year we're back at the Civic Center in Mount Pleasant. We have been having them at the college at one of the little rooms there at the college, but this year we're back at the Mount Pleasant Civic Center, which I really like. I like it because there's, the parking and in and out, and it's a really nice facility, and they're a great group of people that are helping us with that. But that's on June the 6th, I believe, and we have quite a few speakers lined up. We've got the theme is writing suspense. And so we've got Carolyn Dean and Jim Callan and two other people I can't remember right now. And then we have a guy from the Alert Academy in Big Sandy that's going to talk to us about search and rescue. And then we have a representative from the Texas Rangers who is going to be talking to us about cold cases and how they resolve those and what they do and what the Rangers do. And then I think we've got someone there. I think there's two different people there from media that do like films and things like that, because East Texas has really become a hub for, or all of general East Texas, for movie makers. There's been several lately that have been filmed at Caddo. There's a lady in our Sunday school class gets to be an extra when they're in the area. She said that she did a scene not long ago where she was in church for 2 hours singing the same song over and over because they'd have to do a retake for something. And she said, but I was there. But yeah, there's somebody there's going to talk to us about movie making and movie opportunities and that kind of thing. So we're really looking forward to it.
Very cool. I know I've been a speaker a couple of times at the conference. It's fun. It's very nice. You learn a lot. There's a lot of information from the writing perspective. You could pick up quite a bit. With the variety of authors that you guys tend to get.
One of the things I always think about when somebody asks me, well, you're published all these books. Why do you need to go to a writing conference? And Caleb Hurdle, God bless his soul, he told me one time, he says, when you get to the point you think you have nothing else to learn, you need to change positions. You need to change jobs. He said, because I don't care how many books you've written, there's always something you can learn. And writers groups are a great way to do that. I mean, you get to hobnob with other writers. You get to talk about people that write something that you don't. I write romance. Mike writes fantasy, and you write Christian.
Everything.
Everything. You write a little bit of everything. So there's always something that you can learn from somebody else. And networking, to me, is one of the biggest assets of being involved in a writer's group. And I really do like that.
you can always get a fresh perspective from a
Oh,
different,
yeah.
and that's the beauty of these conferences.
Hmm.
You can always gain something.
You
From,
can pick up something. Exactly.
Right.
always
Right.
pick up a little gold nugget from
Hmm. Hmm.
perspective that you never really thought of before, and
That's
that's
right.
the beauty of
And
it.
that's the beauty of it. And then you get to talk to other people who are, they may be encountering some of the same issues you are, or you may be able to help them, figure out something they're struggling with. So whether you're at a conference or at a writers group meeting, the networking to me is the biggest
Right.
plus
Right.
in it.
And that was a good point that you made about when you think you've learned it all,
Hmm.
um, you've stopped your growth as a writer. Because writer, I remember, of course, I've been a long time member of Netwell. And when I first started, you had Jory Sherman, you had Caleb,
Hmm.
you had
Hmm.
Jim Callan, and others that were already well established writers and had been for many years. And and the things that you experience around other authors, and that's and I think too also, even if you aren't, um, even if you don't write in the genre that say a speaker at the conference writes in,
Hmm.
the elements though that you have to put in place for good writing really don't change.
That's
And
right.
uh, so I think you limit yourself if you think, well, I've learned it all and I don't really need, or it's not my genre. Now, I have to admit, I think the theme of last year's NetWo's spring conference was romance,
Hmm.
which is in your alley.
Hmm.
Um, I, I I couldn't attend because I had another obligation. But I have to admit, I was thinking a little twice about that. About the writing of romance. Although uh, even with romance, a lot of stories have themes of love and romance that have to appear genuine, whether or not that's the genre you're writing in.
It doesn't matter what your genre is. There could be a thread of it, and it doesn't have to be the whole mushy mushy lovey-dovey thing. It could be something very simple,
Yeah,
of two people connecting and how one helps the other through something, that kind of thing. So yeah, there is a thread of romance. There can be in anything.
Well,
And
there's a
that's the beauty of being involved in a group, is that you get some of all of it,
mhm.
and you bring something to one of the meetings. I'm struggling with this paragraph. Can somebody tell me, what do you think about this? Or I can't get this to work. Our program last month was on setting the hook, and it was like, we all know what it is, but do you know why you do it? Do you know how to go about figuring out what it is? And that's where these kinds of groups are so beneficial, is that there's always, like, there's always something to learn, some little tidbit. I don't care how many books you've written or what your genre is, there's something that you can learn from it, and that's the important thing.
Yeah, there's like a thread of every type of genre in every book. It's
Hmm.
just when you write in a specific genre, that genre is a little bit more spotlighted.
Hmm.
So when you go to the writers conference, you're learning from each one of the genres anyway.
you're right.
Yep.
Learning
Yep.
to specify a little bit better how to work that specific genre into your story.
And that's it. And I love to learn.
Mhm.
I love trying to figure out new things, and try to spread my writer wings a little bit. And like when I was writing the detail, it's more suspense. It's a romantic suspense, but it was more heavy on the suspense side. I'd never tried that. I mean, I'd done a little bit of it. So you ask questions, you talk to people, you read, you go to conferences, and you listen to someone who writes that and how they did it, and then you ask questions, and next thing you know,
And,
oh yeah, I got that. Oh, that's how I can make that happen.
and I
So
don't think you can overstate too the importance of the networking piece of
no,
being part of a writers organization.
absolutely.
Uh, that is how I've met virtually every person, including all of y'all, including CJ,
Hmm.
including you. That's how I've met people in the that have been writers and published authors that I've learned a lot from. In fact, pretty much most of what I know now, I didn't know because I didn't know what I was doing. It's because I met with others, you know, NASCOM and went to conferences like the ones that Netwell is sponsoring. So the networking piece, I think, is a huge part of why, whether you're an experienced writer or you're just starting out, is something that would be extremely important to anyone that aspires to write and be an author.
Absolutely. You know, and that's the thing too, is that as writers, writing is in of itself kind of a solitary endeavor.
Right.
But you have to be able to get out and, you know, talk to other people about that, because it's not something you can just discuss with anybody. You know, Bud will listen to me talk about my characters till he's sick of them. He calls them my imaginary friends, but he doesn't really understand
Right.
the concept. But talking to another writer or someone else, oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. This is how I went, how I dealt with that, or this is what I did when I got in that position. So you, like you said, you can't understate the importance of networking, because you get that opportunity to talk to other people, to look at it from a different angle, to explore and expand your horizons. You know, okay, let's venture out a little bit. Let's try some of this. When I was writing the detail, it had more suspense in it, and so I really wasn't sure how to go about doing that. So I talked to people. I said, I want to amp this up a little bit. What can I do so that it's not so? I don't want it to get way out there, but I want it to have a little more oomph to it. And so writing the bad guy in that book, it was like, how bad can you be and still be good, you know? And so, but talking about it with other writers and getting their perspective, and helps me to refine my perspective so that I can, do something a little different.
So speaking of networking and getting together
Mhm.
with other authors, Netwo actually meets monthly. Can you tell us more about when they meet, what they do, and that sort of thing?
Every month we have a program. Tomorrow night we're going to have the guy. Our website has had issues forever, and we have just completely redone it and revamped it. There's still some pieces of it that don't work correctly, but we're working on that. But the guy that's doing our website is going to do the program tomorrow night to explain to members how they can utilize the information that's there, because there's things on the website now, like there's a message room where members can chat back and forth with other members. There are critique groups, but that piece, in fact, I went there right before the meeting tonight to see if it was fixed yet, and it's not. But we do have 3 different critique groups that meet, and the information for that, as soon as we get it fixed, is going to be on the website there too. So each meeting has a program. We have a short business meeting that typically doesn't take very long. Then we have a program, like I said, last month I did a program on setting the hook. We've had programs on different aspects of writing, but there's always something that's craft related that is part of the program. And then once we go through all of that, we have a short, like a visiting thing where we bring snacks and visit. And if you need to go, you go. If you want to stay and visit some more, you can. But it's a lot about the networking and talking about things that are writing related. But like I said, we do meet the second Thursday of every month. We meet at 6 o'clock at Tennyson United Methodist Church there in Mount Pleasant, which is just off of 3rd Street. And they've got like a little fellowship hall area, and that's where we meet. And it starts at 6, and usually we're out by 7:30 at the latest.
So is there a fee to join?
No, no. There is a fee to join the club to be a member, but we want you to come and try us out. Come to a couple of meetings, listen to what we have to say. If it's a good fit, great. If it's not, then maybe there'll be another one for you. The dues are $35 for an individual and $45 for a family or a couple. And the link for that is it's one of those things that's not working on the website right now, but hopefully by tomorrow it will be.
Okay, cool.
So the fee's $35 to be a member, but you
Correct.
don't have to be a member to show up to
Correct.
the
Correct. You
Netwell
do
meeting.
not have to be a member to come to meetings. You can come to 2 or 3 meetings if you want to before you decide if that's something that you want to get involved in.
And how much is the conference for June?
The conference in June is $55.
Okay.
And the link for that does work. I checked it out today. So there is if you go to netwell.org and click on the conference link, there's a form to fill out and the little QR code where you can pay right there. Or you can pay at the door if you prefer to do that.
Okay.
But we do ask that you pre-register so we at least have an idea of how many people. You can pay at the door if you like, but we do ask that you pre-register so we'll know how many people are coming.
Very cool. Now, do you guys do things throughout the year, or
we do? We have things throughout the year. We'll have different programs that we've got, going. If somebody wants a special program, we have any of our members can do presentations to other clubs if they want. We make that. We try to make that offer. In fact, I've spoken to several different writers groups around at different times. So we do try to find. I don't know when the next one is. I think it's not till after the conference because we're kind of focused on that right now. But we would like to do more. What do you want to call it? Craft-oriented programs for the general public.
Don't we have a teen writing contest as well?
The teen writing contest we're going to do that one, but that's still kind of in limbo right now. There was something that was holding that up, and I don't know what that is right now.
Okay.
But that is something that we've had that in the past, and I think the last one was maybe the end of last year, and that's always been something that's been well attended. Trying to get kids and teens and in high school and junior high that are interested in writing to enter that. But we do have that. It'll probably come up again in the fall because that's usually it's either like in the first part of the year or in the fall. And I think this time it's going to be back in the fall after we do the conference.
Awesome. I think an important, of course, I've been a member of East Texas Writers Association, NetWo, East Texas Writers Guild out of Tyler. I think one of the things that I appreciated the most about writers organization, whether it was when I was younger and first starting out or even now, is that the friendships that you make, the relationships that you make, and the support that you get. Again, as you mentioned before, it doesn't matter what genre you're writing in, whether or not ever the people are writing in your genre or not. But again, the friendships and relationships that you develop with other people that you would not have done otherwise had you not been part of an organization like NetWell.
Yeah.
And even if like me, where there's like distance, it's like you still are connected, even if they're not. And the author community we're not in competition with each other.
No.
And the beauty of the community is just because like I don't write the same thing Dana writes. I don't write the same thing that you write. It's like we're not in competition. To me, as long as you're reading, I really don't care.
That's it.
I'll refer you to Dana. I'll refer you to Mike because I know what they write.
Yeah.
For the same thing that I write.
And that's the way it should be. And that's one of the things that I enjoy most about the groups that I'm involved in is the support that you get from other authors. If you're successful and they come and say, "Oh, that was great. I saw that. Congratulations." That just boosts you up. And to get your feelings hurt because Mike won an award and I didn't, that's not going to get you anywhere. Pat him on the back and go on.
We celebrate together.
Celebrate together.
That's their successes. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Someone got to work. It's not common to see like 10 to 20 authors congratulating them.
Yeah.
That's the beauty behind the author community is that we're always just like, yay, it's awesome. Yeah. But it's like always also is we know what you write. And so we know like, hey, a friend is looking for a certain book. And so we'll say, hey, I got a friend that writes that stuff.
I got a deal for you.
Something you will like. You know, it's not necessarily what I write, but hey, I got a friend who writes like that. And that's the beauty of knowing other people.
That's right. And
And
I pass cards out. This is something else that I've Network kind of started, and I've kind of kept it up. Is I have cards from other writers. Mike, I need to get some of yours too, because if I go somewhere, I write romance. That's a niche market. Not everybody likes that. And if I know somebody that likes sci-fi fantasy, or here, you need to read Mike Clifton, or I like cozy mystery, then you need to read Patty Wiseman. So yeah, that's something I think is I'd like to see that get a little more for out there. Take your other friends' cards with you, and if they don't want to, pass out one of theirs.
And you always run into each other too. Do you remember the Fort Worth Book Festival and the
yes,
the guy that was dressed like a statue and
there's some unusual people out there.
When we go to like different like book shows and stuff, I'll do book swaps on purpose because I want to be able to advertise those books. And so I have like a huge library behind me over here as well, and it's got signed books from various authors because I like sharing books and I like showing other authors' books, and I do stuff on purpose.
Cool.
And that's the beauty of knowing other authers and promote other authors, and I get a chance to read those books so that I know, okay, this is what this author writes, and being able to recommend those books, and that's the beauty of the author world. So if you want to know more about NetWo, go to netwo.org. That's netwo.org. But before we go, you have a certain craft show that's coming up.
I do. I've got starting a 6-session series on craft of writing. April the 18th at the Civic Center here in Gilmer. It's going to be the first one. You can check my Facebook page. There's a pinned post that has the information on it, or you can drop me an email at danawayne423@gmail.com.
Okay,
if you need more information.
Give you a couple minutes to talk about that.
Okay.
Now, what different workshops do you have for that?
There's 6 different sessions. The first one we're doing is on voice and microtension, voice, and specificity. It's all about how you can use the voice to develop your characters and the different types of voice, which, when I first started, I had no idea what my writer voice was, but there's a difference between writer voice and writer style. And we'll talk about that. We have a workbook. There are some exercises where you'll have some homework to do. If you have a work in progress that you want to try to, build it up a little bit, we can help you with that. But it's open to anybody that wants to attend. It doesn't have to be a romance person. It's just if you want to know more about it. The different sessions, the first one is on a voice. The second one is on dialogue. I've forgotten what the others are. There's 6 of them all together, but they're once a month here in Gilmer.
Okay, and when does that start?
The first one is April the 18th at the Civic Center here in Gilmer, and then the second one is May the 23rd. It'd be like the 3rd Saturday of the month. It's going to be from 11 to 1. We'll have snacks. We'll have some sandwiches for lunch and that kind of stuff. It's going to be a lot crammed into a 2-hour session.
Okay, and can you get the email again?
Dana Wayne, DANAWAYNE 423@gmail.com.
Okay, or your Facebook is what?
Or it's on my Facebook page. It's Dana Wayne 423, author Dana Wayne 423.
Okay, cool. So that's for her.
It's for my writing. It's called Elevate Your Writing, and it's a 6-session thing that's going to start in the 18th of this month.
Okay, but if you want to learn more about NetWo, you can go to netwo.org.
Netwo.org. You can find out about the first chapter contest, about the conference, and
about the NetWo organization. That's www.netwo.org. Well, thank you, Danny. You've given us tons to talk about, tons to learn today, and we really appreciate your time.
Thank you. I appreciate being here. It's good seeing y'all again.
Awesome. Well, stay tuned next week. We're going to be talking about newsletters and subscribers and why to have them. Check us out next week at 4 o'clock. See you guys next week. Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys. Bye.